Every film is supposed to be a controlled illusion, every frame rehearsed, every detail accounted for. But sometimes, even the most careful productions record something no one remembers filming. Something that doesn't belong. It's never in focus, never loud. It hides behind movement, between edits, at the edge of the frame. And yet, when it's noticed, it feels alive. These moments don't look like accidents. They feel intentional, but no one takes credit. No one claims responsibility. Directors deny. Cinematographers shrug. Actors insist they saw nothing. But the evidence remains in home releases, in restored editions, in low-quality VHS rips that fans slow down and dissect frame by frame. They're not mistakes. They're interruptions, fragments that entered the scene without permission and somehow survived every cut. Sometimes it's a human silhouette standing still when everyone else is moving. Sometimes a reflection that blinks when the actor doesn't. And sometimes it's something no one saw until decades later. Film captures everything, even what shouldn't exist. And that's what makes it terrifying. Because once it's been recorded, it can't be erased. It's not memory, it's evidence. Tonight, we're exploring 15 moments that were never written, never rehearsed, never meant to happen, yet they're all right there, staring back at us from within the frame. They weren't part of the movie, but they became part of its legend. Cloverfield, 2008. The chaos wasn't the problem, it was the quiet. Before the monster, before the destruction, there's a calm flashback. A young couple on the subway, recording a day at Coney Island. They laugh, they're in love. But in the reflection of the train window behind them, someone else is there. A pale face, motionless, staring. The reflection doesn't line up with either actor. The eyes don't move when they do. When fans discovered it, the figure was already missing from later releases. Matt Reeves called it a lighting artifact. But lighting technicians disagreed. The glow in the reflection doesn't match the color temperature of any source used on set. For a film built on handheld realism, this single frame became its strangest mystery. Found footage films are supposed to feel real, but what if this one was? The Ring, 2002. The scariest image wasn't part of the cursed tape, it was hidden inside the movie itself. Rachel rewinds the footage, frame by frame. The images flicker static, mirrors, shadows, but for a split second, another face appears. Not Samara, not a reflection, just a white blur with dark eyes, gone almost as soon as it arrives. Goa Verbinski denel eling subliminal frames. But an editor once admitted, that shot wasn't logged. It shouldn't exist in the reel. The frame has since become infamous, found only in certain versions, absent in others. It could be a rendering error, it could be something spliced by mistake, but whatever it is, it looks back. And for a film about cursed images, that feels a little too appropriate. If the cursed tape spreads by being watched, what happens when the curse hides in the movie itself? The Shining, 1980. Every shot was planned except one. Danny pedals through the empty halls of the Overlook Hotel. The sound of his tricycle hums softly against the patterned carpet. Then, for a heartbeat, something flashes, a bare leg, half hidden in the darkness at the edge of the frame. It's quick, too quick, but it's there. Kubrick's control was legendary. Every movement, every shadow calculated. Yet, no production note accounts for a person in that position. The Steadicam operator insisted the set was sealed, only the camera and the child actor were inside. Some say it's a trick of the edit, a crew member caught between cuts. Others think it's something else, an uninvited glimpse of a presence that wasn't supposed to make it on film. In a story about ghosts, maybe the camera found one before the script ever did. Eyes Wide Shut, 1999. Perfection can't hide what doesn't belong. The masked ball sequence is precise, geometric, ritualistic, heavy with meaning. Yet, in a wide tracking shot, a shadow slips across the far wall. It moves too slowly to be a reflection, too deliberately to be an accident. Lighting technicians said the setup made such a shadow impossible. The camera team claimed it wasn't theirs, but it's there, clear, calm, and independent of everything happening in the scene. Kubrick, who reshot takes for days over the smallest imperfection, never fixed it. Some think he didn't notice. Others believe he left it on purpose, a ghost of the director himself, watching his creation from behind the veil. In a film about masks and hidden truths, one shadow refused to stay hidden. Donen Niedarko 2001. One scene makes you laugh until the background moves. Donnie and his friends sit on the field, mocking, laughing, lost in teenage indifference. The camera pans lazily, capturing the moment, but far behind them, near the tree line, something crawls across the grass, low, uneven, almost human. At first glance, it looks like an animal. Then you realize the shape has elbows, shoulders, and it's moving toward the camera. The director never mentioned it, The extras didn't report anyone in that area. When slowed down, the movement feels unnatural, like frames missing, like time misaligned. In a film obsessed with time loops, maybe the loop caught something that wasn't meant to return. Hereditary, 2018. Some hauntings aren't written into the story, they appear between the takes. In one quiet moment, Peter sits in class, blank-eyed, his mind unraveling. Behind him, through the glass door, a shadow forms, human-shaped but slightly distorted by sunlight and distance. It stands still, unnoticed. Ari Aster later described the shot as an accident of lighting. The cinematographer disagreed. The hallway, he said, was closed, the reflection impossible from that angle. During reshoots, the same blur appeared again, identical in height and position, despite changes in location. It's visible only in high resolution, subtle enough to miss, but undeniable once seen. Some call it an echo of grief, the manifestation of the film's themes. Others think it's something that wanted to be part of the story. In a film about inherited pain, maybe the camera inherited something too. Children of Men, 2006. Perfection can hide imperfection until you pause. Cuarón's long takes are mechanical in precision, every camera move rehearsed, every light placement exact. But in one shot, amid the chaos of a firefight, something glows in the corner of the frame, a figure on an upper floor, holding a faint blue light. It's there for just a second, then gone. The production claimed no one was placed on that floor. The building was sealed during the continuous take. The figure shouldn't exist. But in some versions, it's visible unmoving, watching the camera's path from above. When asked, Cuarón simply said, "If it's there, it wasn't ours." In a story about humanity's extinction, maybe the film accidentally caught someone who was never meant to leave. The Exorcist 3, 1990. It wasn't supposed to scare anyone until it did. A nurse fills out a report. The hospital corridor behind her is silent, fluorescent, perfectly ordinary. And then something crosses it. Not fast, not slow, just wrong. Its shape is human, but the movement isn't. Each step lags, like a puppet out of sync with its strings. No sound, no acknowledgement from the actors. Director William Peter Blatty later said the corridor was sealed during that take. The background should have been empty, and yet, on playback, the silhouette was there. The call sheet listed no extras. The production records no mistakes. Some fans say it's a compression glitch, others, a figure caught in a single, unplanned moment of presence. A film about possession and one shot that feels possessed by itself. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, 2001. Every detail in Middle-earth was deliberate except this one. In Rivendell, Frodo awakens surrounded by soft light and quiet music. The scene feels sacred, untouchable. But just as the camera pans across a hallway behind him, a cloaked figure glides past the archway. Slow, weightless, gone in a heartbeat. No one addresses it. It isn't part of the story. It's not in the production note. When viewers noticed, theories began. A crew member in costume, a lighting trick, a reflection. Yet Weta Workshop denied ever designing that robe, and the cast insists no one moved in that space during filming. The figure has appeared and vanished across different editions, gone in the Blu-ray, visible in the theatrical cut. In a fantasy built with precision, one unscripted ghost broke through the frame, and no one can say why. The Passion of the Christ, 2004. Pain wasn't the only thing captured in that scene. The flogging of Christ is one of the film's most haunting sequences, brutal, slow, and ritualistic. But behind a column in the far background, something stands. Pale, thin, its face turned toward the camera. For years, fans debated its identity. Some thought it was an actor symbolizing Satan. Others said it wasn't there at all until later versions of the film. Even stranger, in the earliest screenings, the shadow didn't exist. It appeared later subtly, without announcement. Mel Gibson denied knowing what the audience was seeing. The lighting crew said the angle made the shadow impossible. But when the footage was replayed frame by frame, the outline remained, faint but undeniable. In a story about divine suffering, something else may have been watching, something neither holy nor human. Three Colors, Red, 1994. In a film about coincidences, one frame refuses to be one. It's a quiet evening in Geneva. Valentine walks past a row of apartments. In a window high above her, a man stands motionless, half shrouded by curtains. He doesn't move. He doesn't belong. When audiences first noticed him, they assumed it was intentional, Kieslowski's way of adding another layer of voyeurism. But the production team later confirmed that no actor was scheduled in that location. The window was supposed to be empty. No extra was hired. No one knows who he was. The detail fits the film too perfectly to be dismissed. A story about unseen connections, fate, and invisible lines that tie people together suddenly includes one more, one that wasn't written. When a movie studies the people we never notice, what happens when one of them looks back? Signs, 2002. The alien wasn't the scariest thing in the frame, the camera was. In Signs, fear builds through silence. A home video clip appears a child's birthday in Brazil. Balloons, laughter, sunlight. Then, everything freezes. Something walks past an alley in the background. A tall, stiff figure. No sound, no pause, just presence. The moment became one of the most famous jump scares of the decade. But not for the reason you think. It didn't look staged. It looked found. When asked, Shyamalan said the alien was fully planned, digitally composited. But visual effects artists have a different story. That shot wasn't on their render list. No file, no data, nothing. Theories exploded. Some said it was a crew member accidentally walking through. Others, that it was real footage inserted by mistake. But the lighting, the movement, even the grain matched nothing else in the film. A fake scene that felt too real, or a real moment the film pretended was fake. Sometimes, the most believable monsters are the ones no one remembers creating. Back to the Future Part 2, 1989. The movie was about traveling through time, not about something waiting there. Hill Valley in 2015. Neon lights, flying cars, chaos, and color. As Marty McFly walks through the crowd, the camera catches a glimpse of a woman in the background. She isn't moving, she isn't acting, she's just watching. Her clothing doesn't fit the scene. Her stillness breaks the rhythm of the crowd. And unlike everyone else, she's looking straight into the lens. No one knows who she was. Her name doesn't appear on any call sheet. The studio never commented. Years later, fans noticed she had been digitally erased from updated releases as if she was never there. But she was. And now she'll always be. Maybe she wasn't from the past or the future. Maybe she came from the space between the two. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Not all magic is bright, some hides behind the color. During one of the most joyful sequences in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and her companions skip along the yellow brick road beneath the trees. Far in the background, something sways, a shape dark, almost human. When the film was first released, no one noticed, but with the arrival of VHS, the rumor began. The Hanging Man in Oz. Some said it was a trick of perspective, a large bird spreading its wings. Others whispered it was something else entirely. Something tragic that somehow made it to the final cut. MGM never issued a clear statement. Later, remasters dimmed the background, replacing the eerie movement with light and color. But the legend persists that somewhere in the shadows of a children's fantasy, something truly unplanned was caught forever. The Land of Oz promised a dream, but the nightmare was already standing behind the curtain. 3 Men and a Baby, 1987. It was made to make people laugh, but one frame stopped the laughter cold. In the middle of a cheerful apartment scene, Ted Danson walks past a curtain. The camera pans casually, light pouring through the window. But behind that curtain, for only a moment, a shape appears, the faint outline of a small boy, still, silent. The filmmakers said it was a prop, a cardboard cutout of Danson's character, accidentally left behind. That explanation came quickly, too quickly. Because the proportions don't match the real cutout used in other scenes, fans began to analyze. Some swore the figure was shorter. Others said the face looked real, like someone breathing behind the fabric. The studio eventually removed it from later home releases, quietly, without comment. But the original remains, grainy, eerie, uncorrected. A children's comedy that somehow managed to film a ghost story. A movie about unexpected fatherhood and one child no one remembered casting. The Others, 2001. When you build a story around silence, every whisper becomes a clue. In The Others, the tension lives in the quiet, the empty halls, the spaces between footsteps, the moments when nothing happens. But one scene never followed the plan. Grace walks through the corridor, holding a candle. The air is still. Then, faintly, someone speaks. It's not part of the dialogue, it's not subtitled, and it doesn't belong to any of the actors. Sound engineers insisted the original mix was clean, no stray voices, no background interference. But in certain international versions, when the audio is isolated, you can hear it, a child's voice, almost a whisper, "I'm still here." No one has claimed responsibility, the director never explained it, and the archive copy of the sound mix includes a handwritten note. Keep the hallway, take sound anomaly intact. In a movie about spirits refusing to leave, Maybe one refused to stay silent. 15 moments. 15 accidents that may not have been accidents at all. Each one survived editing, reshoots, restoration, as if the film itself wanted to keep them. These aren't ghosts in stories. They're ghosts in celluloid. Pieces of evidence the camera refused to ignore. Maybe they were mistakes, maybe not. But every frame tells the same truth. The camera sees everything, even what no one meant for it to see. If it wasn't in the script, who was directing it? Which of these moments stayed with you? Have you ever caught something strange, hidden in the background of a film? Leave a comment and subscribe to Darkroom Cinema, where every frame holds a secret. And sometimes, that secret is watching you back.